What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to be installing a Superlift 2.5-inch leveling kit on the 2019 Ram 2500 Cummins. This kit's pretty straightforward, gives you a good set of instructions, and it takes a few hours to install. You and a buddy can knock it out fairly simple with your pretty common tools, some jack stands, and just some general tools. I got a 2.5-inch lift on it. We're just going to be lifting the front up. And then I have some shock relocation brackets for it. You can get longer shocks for it, but my truck's brand new. I didn't really want to have my shocks go to waste like that. I actually wanted to use them. You know, they don't even have 1,000 miles on them yet. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alrighty, let's get this started. So here's what they sent me. All your hardware, brackets and bolts. Actual leveling kit itself. So this is gonna go right up in here, right above your spring, and it'll give you your 2.5-inch lift. Not too bad. There's our one. And these are our shock relocation brackets. So it just lifts your shock mount up 2.5 inches, so you can run your stock shocks and not have to get longer ones. Instructions, some stickers. Who needs those? Just kidding, we're probably gonna need those. Alrighty, so the tools we'll need for this job. So we have our impacts, a drill, 1/2-inch socket wrench, 3/8 socket wrench, 27 mil socket, 21, 18, 13, and then 13/16 and a 9/16. What else? We're gonna need jack stands and then 2 jacks. We're gonna lift the truck up, put it on the stands, and then we're gonna have the 2 jacks to help with the axle on each side going up and down to let the springs out, and then obviously to put the leveling kit up and then the springs back up in there. So a lot easier with 2 jacks, that's for sure. All right, so we're throwing the jack stands underneath. They want them to go right behind the radius arm. So we're jacking the truck up right now. Gonna take the wheel off and then lower it down onto the jack stand. And I'm jacking up from the bottom of this radius arm from the front mount. So we got the truck jacked up, the axle supported. We ran into our first snag. My jack stands weren't tall enough, so we had to throw some blocks underneath of it. But like I said, went right behind the radius arm onto the frame. So that holds the front of the truck up, and then that connects to the front of the radius arm, and then it allows the axle to go up and down with the jacks. So we're gonna keep going here. Our next step is we are going to take this bolt out of the shock. We're gonna leave the top of it connected because we're not gonna do anything up there. We're gonna add our shock relocation brackets. We gotta drill a hole right through here, well, on the back side of this. And then we're gonna drop the suspension down some more. And once we get that disconnected, and then we're gonna take the top of our sway bar links off so it allows it to drop. And then basically the shock should just drop right out once we lower the axle enough. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Oh, and then there are some bolts back here that are holding your brake lines on. All right, so first we're gonna loosen our brake line bracket, and we're gonna take that up so when we do drop the axle, we're not stretching the brake line out. And then, so I have the axle supported right now with no tension on it. We're gonna drop this shock bolt out, and then I'm actually gonna cheat a little bit. They want you to take this caliper off to drill the hole for our shock relocation bracket, but I'm gonna leave everything up and I'm gonna turn the wheel and see if I can get in there and drill our 3/8 hole behind here. So, like I said, kind of cheat a little bit. And then once I get that done, we'll go to the next step. Now luckily on the back side, we have this flag nut, so it doesn't spin. We don't gotta put a wrench on the end of that, so that's pretty convenient. All right, sorry, this is hard to do with only one set of hands and trying to film, but dropping the sway bar link, this is a little bit of the tricky part. This is an 18mm nut, and it's it'll just free spin. So you gotta get some vice grips to hold on to the top and then spin it off. Like I said, it's kind of hard to do with only one set of hands. But yeah, that's the only really tricky part, but once you break it loose, it's pretty simple. All right, so we got the bolt off for the sway bar link. Turn the wheel, dropped a little bit, and I think my trick's gonna work, where I'm not gonna have to take this caliper off. I put this bracket, the shock relocation bracket, up in here, and then a little paint pen marked my hole, and I'm gonna get to drilling. First, it's a 3/8 hole. So first I'm gonna drill a small pilot hole, and I'm gonna come behind it with the 3/8 to fit the new bolt in. I got this drilled out for this bracket. Started with the pilot hole and then went bigger to the 3/8. Got that in there, if you can see on the back side. And then I ran my factory shock bolt through. They give you a little spacer right here to hold it in. Now I'm about to go do the exact same thing on the other side and turn the wheel the other way so I can drill that same hole and take that sway bar link off. And then, yeah, I'm ready to drop the axle, and the spring should be popping right out. All right, just got this side loosened up, dropped the shock bolt, sway bar link, marked my hole, and there, as you can see, right there, drilled it already out just to give you a better look. Now I'm gonna put the bracket in. All right, now we're about to lower the axle, and hopefully the shock just drops out. Fingers crossed. And it's out. Same with the other side. Alrighty. All right, so the passenger side is a bit easier than the driver's side. The driver's side requires one extra bolt and a little bit of drilling, making another hole over there a little bit larger. But so here's the passenger side. This bolt right here, see this hole? That is for the coil holder. Why am I drawing a blank? The isolator spring, there we go. That pushes right in there, this little notch, and then that hole right there in the middle goes right up. And then right on top, we put a little flag mount bolt and go right up through the center. Like I said, it's pretty simple. Here's the setup, goes right up through it and holds on top and tighten her down. So passenger side is pretty easy compared to the driver's side. So I'm gonna get this mounted up. All right, so we just got this spacer mounted in up here. The isolator goes right up into this bolt, and so it's clocked the same way. You want it to point right here. There's that's where the spacer stops. The little rubber spacer, it's a stop. It holds the shock in place. And so that's up there and tight. And now to jump over to the other side, which should be a blast. All right, so here is the driver's side spacer. This bolt's easy. This bolt holds it in place. And then you have your isolator that goes in right here. This bolt back here that holds it in place is gonna be a nightmare. So in the instructions, it says there's a hole already back here, and that's a lie. So we are going to have to drill one out. They say there's a small hole and then you have to make it a little bit bigger, but yeah, there's no hole at all. So we gotta drill like right about there. So we're gonna put this first bolt in right here, set it in its place, and then mark it with a paint marker and get drilling. All right, so we got our first bolt in and measured it with the spacer up there, marked our hole where we're about to drill, and we're gonna start with a pilot hole, a little bit smaller, and then go to the 3/8 that it calls for, and then get it mounted up. All right, so the hole is drilled. Now to throw the spacer up top there. Like I said, when you're drilling, you gotta be careful. The ABS module is right there, so you don't wanna go too fast going up through there. If you hit that, you'll be in bad trouble. So be careful when you're drilling up there. All right, so the spacer went up there. Got it all tightened down. Like I said, be careful up there, the ABS module. But yeah, got it all snug down. Now we're gonna try and fight the springs, see if we can't get them up there. All right, so they were down low enough and we dropped the springs right in, lined up the isolator bucket. To get this little knob in right here, people say to spray something on it, but honestly I put a little spit on it and it went right in. But yeah, it's already lined up, ready to be jacked up. And same with the other side. Fit like a glove, went right in. No complaints, we're lined up good. The alignment tool is in, like I said, the little spit goes a long way, went right up. And all right, so finally got the shock all bolted down. It was spinning back here, so it was kind of a nightmare. You kind of have to leave the other 2 bottom bolts loose and kind of wiggle them around and see if you can't get it in there. We could get it started right here, but through the backside, we couldn't get it to go all the way through. So a little bit of prying and it'll get the job done. So we got both sides done. Shocks are up. Now it's time to raise the axle with both jacks, and then top of the sway bar links, and then the brake line bracket, and then we're gonna adjust the camber right here, and then that's a wrap. So it's coming along nicely. It's taking a little bit longer than anticipated, but we're making it happen. Starting to look good. So got everything lined up, and like I said, just gonna jack her up and get the sway bar links on. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Got the sway bar links tightened down. Got everything else tight. Put the brake line bracket back on. And yeah, we're all set to mount the wheels and tires. And the only thing left is to get an alignment. So don't forget that part. A couple different lift companies say to adjust the camber in that 2 clicks back. Superlift doesn't call for it, but when I go get my alignment, I'm gonna ask them about that and see what they think. See how these notches are right here? They want to go 2 notches back, basically like a 1/4 turn from where that circle is. So I'm gonna ask my alignment guy about that, see what he has to say. But other than that, yeah, we're all set. We're gonna throw the wheels back on, and she's all done. Like I said, need alignment. The steering wheel is gonna be off, and she's ready to go down the road. All right, we're all finished up. Sitting almost level, like perfect. It's a 1/4 inch off. I measured the front to the rear, and it's sitting just how I want. I'm super happy with it. It looks really good. Sits tall. Two and a half, I think, was just right. 3 would have been a little too much. 2 wouldn't have been enough. Be better to see it during the day, but it's night out, or else I'd pull it out for you guys. But yeah, sits pretty level. All right, so just a refresher, this is a Superlift 2.5 inch leveling kit. Didn't do anything in the rear, and then the shock relocation bracket. And then once again, these are 22 by 12 Fuel Mavericks, negative 44 millimeter offset on a 305 45 22. Just about a 33.2 inch tire. Before, without the lift, I could do 1 to 1.5 turns, and I think with this, I'll be able to go 2. Like I said, during the day, I'll be able to go test it out, but right now it's dark and crappy weather. So yeah, really happy with how it turned out. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Superlift 2.5 inch leveling kit. It took a little bit longer than I anticipated, probably 4 or 5 hours. You got a buddy helping you, always helps out. Longest part is probably just set up with your jacks and your jack stands, taking the wheels off, getting all your tools ready. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Comment below, tell me what you think, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. That really helps out and I appreciate it. So that's it. Take it easy. And if it's easy, take it twice.